Welcome back. It's episode number 5 of Standing on Business podcasts. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I have Raisa Zhovklaya here with me, Project Lean Nation Syracuse,
Yeah.
franchise operator, owner operator here. Give us a little info about yourself, about Project Lean Nation. We love having you here in the studio today. We'd love to know a little bit about how Project Lean Nation came about here in Camillus.
Yeah. Um, well, first of all, Project Lean Nation, for anyone that doesn't know Project Lean Nation, basically like a health support hub. We do meal prep, protein shakes, we do body scans, we offer different supplements, protein balls, things like that. But ultimately, we're a place that you can connect and like whatever you need. You need convenient meals, we've got you. You want to lose weight, you want to gain muscle, we can help with all of that stuff. This is something. So, I was a nurse for 11 years prior to this. So, I worked in the stroke field primarily, and I always put myself into the health field or the fitness field, health field on my own journey and all of that. And when I heard about Project Lean Nation, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys should come out to Syracuse. And there was like this quick little word of like, hey, well, maybe you should be the one to open it. And I was like, I have no money, nothing to start with all of that. Um, and I couldn't get that thought out of my mind of like, A, we need this in Syracuse. B, maybe I could be the one to do it because I'm so passionate about this and the mission that Project Lean Nation has. Because really, we teach people to eat healthier long term, not just like a short term weight loss journey. It's more of like, let's teach you how to eat healthier long term. So that's where like the passion started of all of it. And, I decided to quit my job as a nurse, and I had an amazing job. Amazing boss. Like I had a really cushy place where I was at, but PLN really stood out to me. So brought it to Syracuse 3 years ago now because we opened up February 4th of 2023. So we just celebrated our 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And it's been really, really good. And it's exactly what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be community and a place to put people together in a healthy way. And we've had so many great transformations too. So, what was the other question? I forget now.
So, kind of give me a little bit of background. So, Project Lean Nation in of itself, how is that different from, let's say, for example, like maybe other meal prep companies
Yeah.
or something? What's special about, unique about having some like a boots on the ground operation as opposed to like subscriptions and stuff like that?
Yes. Yeah, it's way more tangible. And I've done so many meal prep subscriptions myself. I leaned on those for like easy, not only easy meals, but having my macros listed on it and all of that. The biggest difference with Project Lean Nation is that not only do you get the meals, but you get the support. So you've got the meals, you've got the scans, you've got the protein shakes, supplements side of things, but at the same time, you've got the education. So it's all in one, basically being like, not only do we have amazing meals, they're all gluten free, no seed oils, cooking with olive oil, they're all macro based, portioned out for you, 2 different portion sizes. It's got all of that. And at the same time, you have people that will help you with it. You can either get them delivered, you can come in store and just pick them up, or let's say you don't want a meal plan, you just come in and grab 1 or 2 meals. You can't do that with like any other meal prep company online.
Yeah.
You have to sign up for a subscription. So with us, you have both.
You have the option to kind of test it out
Yeah.
before like, basically committing to something.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what kind of, you said you were passionate about fitness, you were passionate about health. What was that kind of just like aha, like break moment that's like, okay, I got to go all in on this. This is something that I got to do. Was it something in work that you were kind of, like if everything is going well, what's the point of just like starting fresh basically?
Yeah, so I think you can relate with it. It's like you feel like in like peace in your heart. Like I definitely prayed about it. It was something that I was definitely very intentional about, and I felt very, very peaceful about this decision. I was like, hey, maybe because I was not in the right space. Like I had just bought in a house a couple of years before that. I had loans, I had debt. I was not in the financial place to open up a franchise. I didn't even know what a franchise was. Like I started listening to podcasts to be like, what exactly is a franchise? What does that mean? So I was not the person to be like, let's open a franchise here and there because I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I was very naive to it. But what I did know and I was very strong on is that I feel like our area needs this and also I'm passionate about it. My nursing background, my last job, we were basically, I was stroke program outreach coordinator, right? But we were basically teaching people how to prevent future strokes. So with Project Lean Nation, I was like, well, let's not only heal people that are getting sick, but let's prevent people from getting sick. And Project Lean Nation to me was a tool in that aspect. So, so yeah, I felt very, very strongly and very, very much at peace with it. I told my parents, I told my siblings, and even my siblings were like, if anybody was to do it, we see you doing it because, I'm the outsider here in the family, like I just do things off the whim and they're like, yeah, that's you. It makes sense. So I just knew it was the right calling for me, honestly.
So how did that kind of process go about? Was it as you kind of expected, or was it a lot of
Um,
unexpected moments in the journey of starting a fresh new business here?
yeah, so it was a lot of learning. It was a lot of let's just go with the flow. I'm very much like, I want to do this. I'm going to tackle every challenge that comes my way. And I did. I did the financial piece. Anybody that was to look to me like, oh my gosh, like Raisa, you got no money. Like, what are you doing? I made it work and I made it happen. And at this point, I could proudly say I have no business loans. And 3 years into a new business, that's very rare. So I'm really happy about that. I have learned a lot with managing people. I never had that experience. A lot of business things in general that I just was very naive to. And I've learned a lot and I'm going to continue learning. But I was not ready to open up a business, but I had the passion for it.
What's one thing that you kind of like learned or came about unexpected that you were like you were saying you were naive to before? What's maybe can you give us a story of something
So
that
much.
yeah.
Well, first of all, when you're passionate about something, you're trying to like rally the troops and have everybody else that works with you and all of that be as passionate as you are. That's not always going to happen. Not that it'll never happen, but it's not always going to happen. And that was a big struggle for me and a big learning moment for me was like, how do I get the people around me that are helping to support this business to be just as passionate or somewhat passionate in some area to help me like keep this business afloat because I can't do this on my own.
Of course.
And delegating was a huge learning lesson. In the beginning, I used to take everything on my own. I would answer all the calls, emails, messages with all the clients, and I had my staff just do basic things. And I was like, you guys just do this, I'll handle everything else. But then I was burnt out. I was working every day. I was staying up way too late, and then I wouldn't get my sleep. So I really put my health on the back seat. So I'm opening up this health business and then my health is going downhill because I'm trying to do everything.
Yeah.
And so throughout the time of like the business growing and all of that, I'm like, you know what? I made a decision to myself is like, you know what? I got into this for a reason. Let's get back to the basics and let's just focus on how do I get myself out, but also have other people commit and just keep delegating and trusting them and teaching other people to do what I want to be doing.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a big like a for someone that's starting a business out is having the trust in the people that you hire on. It's sometimes learning that you can't trust, and sometimes you have to part ways with people. And at the same time,
yeah,
it's also the realization that you can't be everywhere all the time, all at once. It's just not physically possible.
it's not, but it's also, I think we can also empower. So one thing I've also learned is that people that are not where they need to be, they can learn to be where they need to be if they have a really good manager and a really good mentor. And so for myself, I struggled with that in the beginning. I think I did a horrible job at managing. To be honest, I think I just took on way too much stress and I critiqued in not the right way. It was more of like, like you did something wrong. I didn't do it in a constructive way. And so what I've learned is like, okay, let's take a step back. Have I done my thing into teaching them how to do it? Have I shown an example of how it should be done? And have I supported them in it? And if I haven't done all those things, then they're going to fail. And it's not their fault, it's my fault. So that was a big learning lesson for me, for sure.
Yeah. A lot of times with a business, it's your baby. You want to make sure that it succeeds. You want to make sure it's,
Yep.
getting the water that it needs, all of that. But
Yep.
um, sometimes the best thing to do is just empower the people that are
Yeah.
working with you alongside you to keep moving forward, to
Yep.
keep moving, and give them that drive, give them that passion, and sometimes find the people. Maybe if they're not immediately around you, find. I like the adage of hire fast, fire faster, and then promote even faster than
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
when you start a business, when you start something out, you think things are a certain way. You think like, this person is going to be like that. But in reality, like a job interview or like a starting process, it's really just,
It only
it's
shows
a
you a
shot in the dark.
glimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once
Yeah.
you finally get to know someone and they see you and you see them and the way that they operate, then that's when you truly get to see how people are as an employee, as a partner, etc.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you thought was going to be super important when you first started out that you kind of realized as time went on that, like, man, this really isn't as important, and then vice versa at the same time, something that you wouldn't imagine being so crucial or so important to the business that you learned as time went on?
Wow. I well, I'll tell you what is important. And at the end of the day, I think if you show up authentically, I think even if you screw up, and I've gone to work and I'm literally so overwhelmed. And this was, I would say, early days. Like I feel like, not that I'm not overwhelmed now, but early days, I remember making a shake for this one client, and I made it once, and then I made it a second time. I made it a third time, and then I made it a fourth time. And it was wrong every single time. And I finally go to him and I'm like, I am so sorry, but I can't make your shake right because I was so overwhelmed. I was watching my staff. I was way too distracted. I was looking at all these nitty little details, and I literally went in my drawer and I'm like, you know what? You can take all these. They were messed up shakes. I remember it was the Gladiator shake. It's like chocolate peanut butter banana. But I kept screwing it up and I was like, at this point I'm just failing this customer. So I gave them these 2 free shake cards. I'm like, just take this. And he just gave me like his hand and he was like, it's okay. It's okay. We're good. I'm happy. We're good. Like have a better day kind of thing. And just like the grace of clients and just being able to be like, I'm screwing up and I'm not there today, but like I'm gonna still make it up to you. But that's been really cool. So like I think just being authentic with like your clients, your people, your staff members. If you're not having a day, just being like, I don't. You don't want to wallow in certain things, but at the same time, you want to be your best. If you can't be your best, what can you do to make that other person not suffer because you're suffering,
Yeah.
So I guess that was like a big learning lesson for me and a enlightening thing, I guess, for me, just to be like, people will give you grace, but just show up authentically, to them.
How is it being in the health and wellness space? It's a very, like, it's always been a, I don't want to say it's an emerging market because it's a space that's been around for a minute, but people I think are, especially nowadays with social media, with a lot of content out there. How many podcasts you hear about health, and there's beauties, content out there as well. How is it being in that space right now? Do you find that people are doing it, or may I ask, are you in the space for the aesthetic, or are you more about the actual health element? Kind of where do you steer your clients in?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one thing for me is because I struggled with I wasn't like, I had all this weight on me. I'm like, I got to lose this weight, but I struggled with fad diets all my life. And it was when I figured out how do I lose weight long term and how do I keep it off, I wanted to relay that to people. And so I read this book, Atomic Habits with James Clear. It's like my favorite book. But he talked about solidifying habits and make them like solidify the habit. Once you have it, then you like work on another habit, and then it becomes your lifestyle. So my goal in Project Lean Nation, the goal is, and the mission really is, let's teach people how to eat healthier long term. So being in this space, there are still fad diets out there. There are diets that, everyone, people come in, they're like, do you guys do keto? Do you do this or that or whatever? And I look at them and I'm like, well, what are your goals? Because if this is your goal, this diet that you're doing is not going to be sustainable for your lifestyle. So how do we make it sustainable? And I really thrive on teaching people how to eat healthier long term, and how do we make this where we're not consumed by it on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of teaching, I would say. With the gym space, there's always going to be a variety of different gyms. My goal with that is, honestly, we're not a gym, but we have clients that look for different gyms. Is it equipping people or advising people of like, hey, I've gotten to know you. I've gotten to know your needs. I also know different gyms. Where can I pair you? Like, I think you should check out this gym because this will work for you, A, B, and, whatever, based on what they're looking for and what results they're looking for and who they are. So you really get to know that person. So, yeah, no fads. I'm all about that.
About making,
Long term.
yeah, long-term
Yeah.
goals. I heard one
Yeah.
thing, someone posted one day, I wish I remember who it was, but they said if it's something that you can't see yourself doing for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to get, people get on the 70 hard and they get on this and they get on this wave, but it's not sustainable long term. And you do the progress for a short period of time, but then it's that
Yes.
kind of yo-yo effect, and it goes right back to where it is.
Well, sometimes I think we all need a jump start. So here's the thing. Sometimes we need a little aggressive approach. However, one thing that I'm proud of with Project Lean Nation, I just had recently my aunt do the meals. And, she doesn't count her macros or anything like that. But she's like, one of the biggest things I took away from doing the meals is learning portion control. Because she could eat this 400 to 500 calorie meal and be like, oh, I'm full after this. And I know to stop because I'm actually full. It's got the protein. It's got the right amount of calories for her. And, when people wonder, like, what do they need to be eating? That the Google space of like how to lose weight is so super saturated. We really need to simplify it. And that's what we do here at Project Lean Nation, is that we do your body scan. That's why we do the body scans, because we get your metrics based on what your body composition is. We can see how many calories your body's burning. So now we can be like, hey, based on your activity, this is what you should be eating in order to lose this much weight. And if you follow the guidelines, you will lose weight. We've seen it happen multiple times. So,
Yeah. What's your thoughts on nowadays, especially, I don't know if you watch the Super Bowl, how many ads there are now? Like we see the Make America Healthy
yeah.
ads, which is great, eat real food. But we also, at the exact same time, you see all the different ads for GLP-1s, weight loss drugs, etc. How does that, what's your philosophy on that? How does that fit into
So,
Project Lean Nation?
this is like a tricky subject, and I will tell you, like, we will never, I would never judge anyone that uses something to super boost or give them a boost to their goals, right? The thing is, my stance on it is, if you want this to accelerate your weight loss, love it for you, right? So while you are on it, let's develop healthy habits. Because if we can do that, then yes, when eventually you can be off of it, you're going to have all these habits that are going to continue your weight loss journey. What I don't agree with is being on it and continuing to eat the ice cream at night and snacking and doing all these and going out to eat on these like fast food, splurges. If you're doing that, you're
Not really fixing anything.
you're not fixed. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not. You're not. And you're going to be on it forever in that case, because you're really not doing the right things for long-term weight loss, and you're just putting a Band-Aid over it. And you're going to gain it back because we've seen it happen. So when someone comes to us and they're like, I want to do a consultation, I'm on a GLP-1, I do a full, like, thorough assessment of like, what have they done? What are they doing now? How are they feeling? And we really strive, especially with them, is like, let's develop healthy habits Okay, let's get you on this, that whatever you're doing with whatever clinician that you're working with, how can we make this long term? And that's our goal with that.
Do you think it's another fad, or do you think it's here to stay?
Um, no, I think it's here to stay. I think it's definitely here to stay. I just think it gets used inappropriately a lot, you
In
know?
what way?
Just in that way
Just
of
the
like you're gonna continue eating that the way that you've been eating. You're not gonna work out. You're gonna take this GLP-1 and you think that this is gonna be your solution. It's not. You're gonna gain it all back
Yeah, because
because
the habits haven't changed at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I support the people that are on it, and they needed that for support, and they're doing the things they want to make it long term.
Yeah, just using it as a starting point, and then using that as an opportunity to change habits,
Yeah.
create new habits, new lifestyle, etc.
Yep.
On the topic of lifestyle and kind of change, can you give me a little bit of kind of the insight? How has your lifestyle or kind of the outlook on life changed since starting a business? What was it expected? Was it unexpected? Maybe some interesting stories there.
Yeah, a lot of transitions, I would say. So prior to Project Clean Nation, I got into like the best health of my life and best fitness level, everything. I'm still not even back there. So that's my goal, is to like get back to where I was. But when I opened up a business, first of all, I was working two jobs. I was working as stroke outreach coordinator Monday through Friday, and then I did home care on the side. But I had a good regimen. Like I would work out every day. I had a really structured diet. I was really good with my habits. When I opened up the business, my world just went in like a disarray and like chaos. And I found myself not having time to work out, a lot of stress, no sleep, not going back to my habits. I was struggling for a while. And then the in-body scan that we do for everybody else, I'd be like, I ain't getting on that, because I'm like, I'm new in this business. I know I've gained weight, but really a lot of it was stress, inflammation, and all of that. So I came to a point where I was like, you know what, I really need to get back to where I was prior to opening up the business. And so I went back to those habits that helped me get there before opening the store. And it was just, so I started with like water, walking, sleep, and then I added on to it, and I just keep adding on to it. I guess I just signed up for the High Rocks in May. So another thing to train for, but like that's what got me to open PLN, and I want to get back to that point,
Yeah.
But I had a lot of chaos for a while.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that crazy thing in the future that you got to start working toward
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
you
but I'm
going.
in such a better place now, and
Yeah.
it really was just that realization that I can't, if I'm not my best self, I can't be the best self for like my business. My business is not going to grow. If I'm good, my business is good. So yeah, you gotta keep yourself in check.
What advice would you give someone that's starting a business, like maybe some specific tangible things they can do?
Delegate early.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't delegate for the longest time. And if I did, it was like I was still overseeing certain things. But delegate, trust people early. They're gonna make mistakes, and then handle them making mistakes, because that's how they're gonna learn. But then they're gonna become a pro at it eventually. And hire the pros. Hire people that are better than you. It's not an ego thing.
Yeah.
You're here to like get people that are on your team and are gonna do a great job. So
Yeah, absolutely. So what
yeah.
does your day-to-day kind of look like?
So now it's different. This week is different, obviously, because my key lead, who's awesome, and she helps me out a ton. When she's on vacation, I'm picking up more shifts at the store. But my current typical week is I'm usually at the store 2 days a week. I do a lot of admin work on the behind the scenes. I've done more networking, more strategy, I would say, with the business. That's actually really my goal for this year, is like now it's like less time at the store, still trying to connect with people, but being like, how else can we grow? So we're 3 years in. I would say the first year for sure was me being there way more than I needed to be, and overseeing things more than I needed to do or to oversee. But it's a progression.
Yeah. How is it being a franchise operator? I know that's, different businesses have different structures. Some have more support, less
Yes.
support. Do you feel like it's kind of your own independent business, but do you feel that support, or kind of what's the relationship like, and what kind of
Yeah.
advice would you give for someone in that kind of franchise relationship?
I think all franchises are very different. This franchise is, I would say, on the newer level, but because of that, they take a lot of feedback from us, which is really great. I do feel like, in a sense, I'm on my own, but at the same time, I have so much support from the franchise. If I didn't have the support, I don't know if I can open up this business without them. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So in that sense, franchises are great. They're set up to be like, okay, just learn all the systems and then do it on your own, right? Versus when you do your own business, you got to get your branding, and like there's so many other things that you got to think of. So it makes it easier. And they have certain guidelines, but they're not out of the ordinary, and you can always give them feedback. So it's been great, honestly. People look into franchises, it's like meet the franchise owners, figure out their struggles, figure out what they love or what they love about that franchise. And if the positives outweigh the negatives, go for it because it does make it easier.
Do you think if you were to do it all over again, you would still go with a
Oh,
franchise or start your own
absolutely.
brand?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. What does the
Yeah.
future of PLN look like? Kind of what's the goal, other than just, it's easy to say growth, but anything specific that
Oh
you
yeah,
want to see?
definitely growth. So with my individual store, my biggest thing that I've been working on is really getting systems in place, continuing to grow myself as a better manager, a better leader, and then expanding our store into a second store, which I've already bought the territory for. So we're looking, and yeah, we'll have two locations out in the Syracuse area, so about 30 minutes apart, which will be a good equal distance and stuff. So that's
Very exciting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Another
So
location.
anybody that's looking to apply and get a job, reach out.
Very cool. Very cool. How do
Yeah.
you show up? How do you bring that excitement, that energy to the business? Even days when, stuff isn't going the well, you're kind of drained. Like, how do you bring that energy to the team?
I will tell you, we just had a really, really amazing event this past weekend. It was a collab with a really special brand. It was for my friend who had, got through a tragedy herself, and I had to show up because when you're there, like you're there for the people. And I was dealing with some things individually. For me, it's like awareness, like something's unsettling. Can you show up for people? If you can't, what am I going to do to fix that? And for me, I just needed to step away for a little bit. And sometimes I need to do that. Like, I'm like, I just need to escape the store for a little bit, reset, get my bearings, because I am a very outgoing, like very genuine and like, out there kind of person, right? But it takes a lot of my energy, right? So when I'm going through something myself, sometimes I just need to reset and just go in a quiet zone, and then I'll come back and I'll show up for my people because we have like the best support. I don't want to show up drained and putting my negative energy on people. So I really pride myself on trying to like really be aware and reel myself in. So
Yeah. How do you find yourself kind of that in that space of being attached to your employees, or being that kind of like almost role model, in the sense of like you set the tone of what it is? How do you find yourself like kind of, I guess, shifting or adapting people's mindsets and stuff like that? Like, what would you do in that situation?
So I love my staff, right? And I love to see them thrive and get better. But one thing I'm learning too is boundaries, and you have to set boundaries early with your staff.
Can you give us an example of a boundary?
Um, yeah, there's certain things that as a friend I would allow in my store. Certain actions, you want to be that supportive person, but if they're going through something at the same time, I need to have them reset and just be like, you're here at work. I need you to focus on work. And I will be empathetic to what you're going through. If there's something that I can do for you and make it easier for you, I'd love to make that happen. If there's not, let's finish out strong. And, I will help you however way I can. But like you are an employee, and not just you're my employee, but you're here for the people. And if you can't be here, we're not just here just being all friendly and it's not all about that. It's about the people that we're serving.
Yeah.
So
That boundary between boss and friend.
yeah, because I love myself. I wouldn't say I'm like I appreciate and love all of them, but I also deserve respect, and I don't demand it. I think if I see something that doesn't align with the same respect that I want and receive, and I give and receive that sort of thing, it's like we're not gonna um I don't know how to say it honestly, but you got to remember the mission at the end of the day. And if you can't serve our people, then something has to change.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very much ready to support someone in that. But they also have to be wanting to do that too, or it's not going to work out.
Yeah. What would you say is like the number one thing or the number one important factor for you where it would be like, okay, we have to part ways? Like what's
Um,
an unforgivable sin almost in a sense in the business of
I have had to do that. So, when I look back on different people that I have let go from the store, there were for different reasons. One was disrespect, where it was not fixable. It was beyond that point where we were beyond that point, and I don't hate them at all. It wasn't going to work for the business. To the point where I would say something and it would be was it
contradictory, yeah.
contradictory, or they would contradict it, or they would make up their own rules, and I would say, no, we need to do this in this way because this business is important to me, and we need to follow this because A, B, and C. And if it kept going back and forth, it was just, we're doing this too much, and you're just not respecting like what I need for this place, and I care a lot about it and the people. We need to part ways. Another reason was just people not being nice to each other. So if someone's disrespecting other staff members, you can sugar me up all you want, but if you're not nice to your peers, and you can be nice to our clients, but it was a situation where they were not nice to our peers and it was dragging the team down. You get rid of that, and then it brings everybody else up. And I think your employees need to see that one,
You
we
have
call
their
it
back.
rotten egg,
Yeah.
bad egg, you got to get rid of them, because
Yeah.
it's bringing the whole entire team down.
Yeah.
So,
Showing the support that you care for the other people there that
yes.
they're bringing down.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
not
and I've
just
had to
about,
do that. And because I see how it affects the other staff, and I don't regret any of them. I might regret maybe not giving them more support, or maybe not showing more guidance, but at the end of the day, it needed to happen. So,
Are there any situations where you had to part ways with an employee, either by
mhm,
firing or they quit, that you kind of use that as a learning lesson for maybe as a
all the
like
time.
for yourself almost in a sense,
All
or
the time.
yeah,
Every single one of them. Every single one was like, okay, could I have done something different? And it's always yes. Yeah, there's always something I could have done differently every single time. And I look back and I'm like, okay, I didn't equip them right. So then this happened. They weren't prepared. I basically, set them up for failure, right? So other times I'm like, I didn't bring things up to them, when I should have. I didn't fix things early on, and things just got out of hand. So, yeah, every single one is a learning lesson. Yeah. And every issue is a learning lesson. Every conflict is a learning lesson. So, yeah, I'm well aware I've got my faults.
I think it's important to
Yeah.
self-reflect. Yeah, as a
Yeah.
business owner, I think a lot of times people, well, like as entrepreneurs, they'll kind of like, okay, it's me against the world, so like
Yeah.
everybody else or whatever. But sometimes you do have to kind of look in the mirror and say, all right, was it on me? Was it on
Oh, yeah.
was it on the environment? Sometimes it's on neither person. Sometimes it was
Yeah.
just a bad timing. And that
Yeah.
happens as well.
Yeah, and it does. But I like to keep people around, and I think like, what can I do to help? And if I stretch my limits at that point, and their limits at that point, and then it's not working, then whatever. But no, a lot of learning lessons. And I've never managed, I've never run a business, so I would say like the first 2 years were probably my ugliest years. So I mean, people can say all they want, but I had a lot of learning to do, and I'm still doing it every single day. So,
What's the biggest lesson you learned out of that besides delegation?
I mean, more self-reflection. Like it's your own fault. It's my own fault. So that's my biggest self-reflection. If something's not working, what did I do wrong?
What's the number one thing that you're looking for in a person that you're looking to bring onto the team? Like you're hiring
Yeah.
and you're looking for a quality. Is there a specific, maybe necessarily personality trait about them? Is it just about the result at the end of the day that they're servicing people,
Yeah.
or is it kind of a whole encompassing thing?
It's a lot of things. Someone can come with a really great resume, but not show up for an interview or show up late. And then you start like learning different things, or they don't respect you. They have an ego issue. They're not able to be self aware. Being critiqued is very difficult if someone can't accept it. That becomes hard to deal with on both ends. So I really strive to be someone that, like, if someone brings something up to me, being like, okay, what did I do wrong here? Why is that person bringing it up versus being like, you're wrong, like, I didn't do this. So, character is big. Character is more important than skills. Because I have people that are with me now that their skills were not where they needed to be, and I really didn't know if they were going to make it, but they're doing really well because their character is really amazing, and they
Yeah.
just
Being
they
able to be
work
coachable.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coachable. They work hard, and they really want to do well, and that goes a long way. So
Do you think that the almost in a sense the character or the characteristics of the employee reflect into the business, or the business reflects into the employee?
I think a little bit of both. I think knowing the passion and the mission of Project Clean Nation for someone being an employee there, you want to kind of like keep that mission going. And at the same time, if you have an employee that's bringing negative energy, then now it's reflecting our business. People coming in are feeling that. So I think it goes both ways, honestly.
Got you. What's the kind of now with the idea of bringing in two locations?
hmm
What's the idea there? Is to kind of take the team here and expand it, split it up, or bring on a completely new team? How are you approaching that?
Part of it will be splitting certain people based on, location. Because I want some people that are more senior at the new location, because I don't want to bring a whole new team at the new location. But it'll be a little bit of that, and then bringing new people on that'll probably start at our current location and then transfer over. So I think I want people to see like the ambiance of like what Project Lean Nation brings in the area we're in now. It's really special to me. I am obsessed. I love the people. I've become really close with a lot of our clients. And, I want people to experience that and have that same like joy going into a new location that they haven't met the people yet.
Yeah. How is it being a part of the community here?
Oh, I love it. I love meeting new people all the time. Yeah. I know. I think we were talking about it's like I have so many great people that are in my like circle, and it's because of Project Lean Nation. So without it, I wouldn't have them. So it's been really great. Yeah, it's
How
cool.
how is it like to start get like, let's say for example you're starting fresh,
hmm
new business, or maybe give kind of the expertise of your past experience
Yeah.
of being there. How was it kind of starting as a fresh new thing, completely new, and becoming then kind of now like almost in an essence like now being in the Township 5 area, being
hmm
there for it's something that's been there consistently. It's kind of like a call it a community landmark
hmm
almost in a sense, right? As opposed to when you're just starting out, you have a fresh brand, a fresh idea that
hmm
nobody's ever heard of. What was that process like for you? What like if you were to do it all over again,
Yeah.
and especially with like this new location, what's the learning lesson that you can take?
Well, we were still brand new. No one really knew what Project Lean Nation was. Even though it's a franchise, it's an evolving franchise. When I started, there was less than 20 stores open. Now it's over 40 at least that are open. It's doubled within 3 years, and it's continuing to like increase. So it was like bringing a brand new business in the location. But I did a lot of, I would say, my own social media presence. I did a lot of that. And I think even if people didn't know Project Lean Nation, they knew me and they knew my passions, and I would express to them like what I'm trying to bring to the community. So if someone knew bringing something to our area, right? If you can just show that like behind the scenes where it's starting from, I think it goes a long way. So we were brand new. I mean, I think still people come in the store like, I've never heard of you guys before. But more stores have opened nearby. Like we've got a Cortland store, Binghamton store. I mean, obviously Rochester's the main one, and then there's Canandaigua nearby, and hopefully, and then obviously my second one. But the more presence of those stores, the more awareness we have too. So for me, it was just like, how do I get myself out there and get really uncomfortable? Because if you can't get uncomfortable, you're not going to go far. I had to get uncomfortable a lot of times.
Can you give me some examples of that?
Every single time. Right now. Like, I mean, I did things that I was like, this is, well, even going into gyms and like telling people about the brand. I mean, I was just so passionate that I was like, you guys need to try Project Lean Nation. And I was like, was I very comfortable? No, but I knew that I wanted this to work and I wanted people to know about it and I wanted them to experience what I'm experiencing, that I had to just block that out and go move past the uncomfortableness, because I'm uncomfortable all the time. People might not know it, but I'm uncomfortable all the time. Yeah.
So it's getting out of your comfort
You
zone.
have to.
Yeah.
You have to. If you are too shy, too meek to get out there, you're not getting far.
What do you think are the
Yeah.
most kind of rewarding those like community aspects or networking out?
I
Like
mean,
what's
the people, like, and I've met other business owners that I've learned from and gotten a lot of support from. So I would say with my business, I've met a lot of other great, amazing business owners that have also become mentors to me. And then the clients I've become friends with, a lot of them, I love seeing our people. That's like the greatest benefit, honestly. If we ever close, I'd be like, I miss the people, you know?
what's something that with like social media, with online presence that you've learned as time has gone on?
Um, be authentic, show real moments. Don't make them too advertising. People don't want to be sold something. They want to experience it and feel that feeling. And I don't even try that per se, but I know that advertisements in the traditional setting of like, here, I'm going to sell you this, don't technically work. But if we can combine it with a feeling and a community and a presence, you're going to get a lot further. So with my social media, I really try to show like behind the scenes or things that we're actively doing in the community just to kind of connect people to us. So,
If there was like one thing that you would want people to kind of take out of your social media or your online presence, what would it be?
show up regularly, be authentic, um, and I mean, be authentic, be yourself.
In the sense that like if I was to see PLN on Facebook,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Instagram, what's the one thing that you would want to convey to me?
We're not just meal prep. We're here to like support you in your long-term health journey. So that's like ultimately like we're support because we've got the community support. And then like you're looking for a health fix, we'll help you with that, but it will also support you in so many other loving ways, you know?
Yeah.
So,
So bringing that almost again back to that word community, but
mm-hmm.
bringing that people side of things into fitness, into
Yep.
lifestyle changes,
Yep.
into wherever you want to go.
Yeah, because it's a really sensitive subject for a lot of people. You know, you sit down with people, they don't just need to lose weight because they need to lose weight. It's because they went through something traumatic in their life and they built up habits that are negative for them, but they can't get out of it. So you're doing a lot of very therapeutic sessions when you're sitting down with someone. It's not cut and dry like I just eat too much pizza. It's like something happened in my life and I can't get rid of this habit, you know? And we help you with that, you know? We do our best to guide you in the right direction, but we know it's not just cut and dry.
What's a good habit that you've kind of developed as a business owner?
Well, you got to take care of yourself. That's one thing that I realized. So in my worst moments, I lost care for myself. In my best moments, I take care of myself. Structure, routine, daily habits, my water, my sleep. I know if I don't get enough sleep, I'm not good for anybody, and eating well. And then balancing, it is important to, while you have a business, it consumes your life, but you have to have balance with your family and your friends. You have to fit it in somehow. You have to, because it's not healthy.
What does that look like for you?
I schedule, I mean, even my workouts right now, and this week is going to be different, but, I schedule workouts with my friends, right? If there's an event going on, I've, joined the CNY Women's Network, for example, and they have different events throughout the year. I try to go in and attend those. Whereas before I used to never attend because I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm like, I have so many things to do for work and my business. Like, I can't spare this time. But when you do, you connect with other owners, other, just women or even men, right? Women, men. I just hang out with more women. But you connect with them and you learn different things. They also give you support. And then you feel more fulfilled and more energized for the next day that you go into work, So, yeah, we need the support in all areas. So,
If you were to restart everything, let's say, for example, next tomorrow we wake up and it's all gone, how would you go about that process again? Well, first question, would you do it all over again? And how would you do it?
I would do it all over again. And when I opened up the business, I always said, if the business fails, I'm in a good financial position where I don't have loans over the business, right? So I'm in a good place on that end financially. But I always said, worst case, I have family. I can stay with them. I'm good. If anything bad happened, I'd be fine. I have my friends, my family, my support. Financially, I'd be fine. I always say money comes and goes. If I've always been in positions where if I ever have debt, I always get out of it because I know to hustle. Like I have that in me, So I'd be fine. I'd be fine. I'd open up another business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you go about that? Would you basically, what did you learn from
Yeah.
the starting of this business that you can apply to, or anyone could apply to their business, or something that you would be like, yeah, I would do it this completely differently, or maybe not. Maybe it was the right way to do it.
I think it was the right way to do it for me because I was able to learn my lessons in action. And I was driven by passion. So that part was set. I don't regret anything. Like every part of it, I enjoyed the process. I had so much joy. Like I got my first banner for my store. I got so excited. I got enjoyed every bit of it. And I celebrate every bit of it. So I would say do that too. Don't get lost in the day-to-day things. Like,
Take
like,
time to celebrate those small wins.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like I celebrated everything and I'm so glad I did. So I think I did that part right. The things that are the most negative from my experience in PLN, I think I had to go through them to get to where I'm at today. So I don't regret it. I would do it again. I'm obviously going to open up another store, so I'm
So
going to do
doing
it
it again,
again.
yeah.
So, okay, so thinking of it that way, I would be more organized. I would say that. I'd be more organized, be more scheduled with my day-to-day tasks, and delegate. So that would be the biggest thing. Organize and delegate better.
Yeah. On the topic of kind of finances and getting there, what kind of piece of advice would you give to someone starting a business fresh? You said not taking on business
I
debt.
mean, I had $20,000 worth of debt going into the business.
Okay.
So I was in no position to open up a business. But if you have for me, I had a franchise. So it wasn't just an idea. It was like, okay, I want this, but I've got the support of the franchise, but I'm going to make it happen. Just having grit and just knowing that you have to work hard if you're going to make it happen. It's not going to be easy, but even new franchise owners that are coming to like me for advice, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a single person that had debt going into the business. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, you will make it happen if you want it to happen. So nothing's going to stop you if you really want it. So
If there's a will, there's a way.
there really is. I mean, I was not in any position to be opening up a business. Like if I look back there, and even the franchise owner, Tim, franchise founder, right? I don't think he was like, "Where are you gonna get the money?" I'm like, "I'll figure it out," and I figured it out. So
So how did you figure it out? Can you give us some tips? Someone that's trying to raise funds,
yeah,
raise capital, to get a business
yeah, because
going.
I had no money, so I
Yeah.
couldn't even get an SBA loan because you needed a down payment for the SBA. So I did this contest that I ended up losing, but I was hoping to win $20,000 from that, but I ended up doing a private equity, which is a really high interest loan, but I was working still at the time, so I took that loan out to pay my franchise fees and the startup fees of the business. But then I also prepaid. So this was like, I think was smart on my end, is that I prepaid like 3 to 6 months of my mortgage, my bills. That way I didn't have stress about it. So I knew like, okay, I'm going to be putting a lot of money into this build out. So I prepaid a lot of my finances, whatever I could. And then I worked my primary job, and then I did home care on the side. So I worked 2 different jobs, and I did certain different loans. Like I did like a private, no, I did the private equity. I did a personal loan. I did a HELOC loan, all totaled under 100,000. And then I maxed out my credit cards. And then when I opened up the business, my first goal was to pay off all the credit cards, then paid off my car, then paid off my personal loan, then my HELOC, and then my last one was my private equity. So I just staggered the payment, the way I paid things off. But just kind of preparing for like, I'm not going to open up this business and then lose my house at the end of
Yeah.
the time, at the end of the day. So I prepaid a lot of things, just to make sure I was in a good spot.
Yeah. Do you own your location or do you lease it there?
At least that.
Lease it. So how
Yeah.
was it like? Kind of giving you that a taste of starting a location, starting like things
So
that you learned from that process.
no one knew about Project Lean Nation. So the landlords, like if a McDonald's was going to open, they're like, we all know McDonald's is going to do well. With me, they didn't know me. So I wrote them like a personal letter to the landlord, and I just explained where I was coming from and who I was and my personal passion for it. And I got it. So I think without it, they'd pass me off. I mean, it was going to be passed off, but I was like, I need this. I'm like, I will succeed. So I wrote them a letter, and I have a great landlord group. They're great to work with. So
3 years later, here we are. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome. So we name our podcast Standing on Business,
Yeah.
which for us means at the end of the day, what's the thing that you stand on? What's the morals? What's the ethos, the ethics, the just everything, the characteristics, that just what's the one like kind of foundational truth at the end of the day that you as a business owner and Project Lead Nation as a business, your Syracuse franchise, now a second location
Yeah.
coming soon. What would you say to someone like, these are the values, these are the core things that we stand on here. These are the core things that I stand on.
I mean, beyond what the Project Lean Nation, like what we're doing, like what we're actually doing with the business is helping people to eat healthier long term and just, live a healthier life. Ultimately, in both with my clients and staff, is just treat people well and be a good person. Admit when you do something wrong, and just become a better person overall. Because if you can continuously be evolving, if you stay stagnant, you're not going to do well. I think if you can continue to evolve in yourself and just treat people well, I think you'll be in a good spot. So, yeah, no one hates a nice person. If you
Yeah.
just be nice, you're just not only nice, like passive, but like just genuinely care for people, you'll do well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to
Yes,
talk with
of
us today.
course. Thanks for
It's
having me here.
absolutely wishing you all the best with the new
Fellow
opening.
Ukrainian over here.
Of course. When's the new location opening up?
Well, I got to find it. So we
Still
got
in the search.
so we
Okay.
got the territory that's solidified. I've got it locked down. It's just finding the right spot. So if you know any open spots out in Fayetteville, Manlius, let me know.
Very
So,
cool. Very cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're wishing you
Yes,
continued
thanks.
success.
Thanks,
And with
thanks.
everything that comes with, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. All right, guys, that's episode number 5. Please let us know who you want to see on a future episode of Standing on Business. We will just love making new friends, new connections here in our local area as well as nationwide. We got some very exciting guests coming up. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.